Hello everybody, welcome to GameGuru Classic and GameGuru Max broadcast number 119, and I hope you're enjoying the show so far, which is basically 6 minutes, yes, count them, 6 minutes of defeating choppiness. Anyone who's been lucky enough to join us from 7 o'clock, this is our third attempt at a live broadcast. The first two started and ended in extreme choppiness. The reason, after I actually reset the whole system actually for this, the third attempt, had nothing to do with the setup. It was to do with the fact that Dropbox had decided to sync about 10,000 files at that particular moment. So that was the culprit. So if you're ever doing a live stream yourself, yeah, probably a good idea to pause all your cloud-based auto updaters. So welcome finally to GameGuru Classic and Max broadcast. Today we're going to do a few things, a few reveals, and even go into a little bit of software, but not too much. So basically a nice spread of news and demoing all the way through. The format's pretty simple. We split into a couple of parts. The first part, I talk for a bit, maybe do some demos, talk about some news, and then the second part is the Q&A, where you can ask your questions and I will attempt to answer them. And we have extended the Q&A into Discord, so even after the broadcast you can jump onto Discord and maybe get a few more answers as well. We're trial running this, sort of a way to have some pre-recorded broadcast connected to some live event when one or both team members aren't available to actually host a live event, at least those who can figure out all the software. So if you do have a question, just pop it into the live chat with a question mark at the end, so we can easily scan through and find the questions and answer as many as we can in the time that we've got. So without further ado, I want to jump straight in and talk about something that only came into my inbox today, so I didn't really have time to prepare a deep dive and show you some of the insides of what's going on. So that just means we can prepare it properly and do it properly next time. But for now, I just want to give you to it as a form of GameGuru Classic news. And if you've been reading my title bars, you probably anticipated where I'm going with this. It is finally dropped, the pull request for the simulated procedural Sky. I ran a video, I think it was the last week's broadcast or the week before, where I showed you some really excellent contribution that's going into the GameGuru Classic repository. It is now here. The commits are here. I just need to do the bit. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can see review required. That's me. I need to review the code, and then I merge it into the latest master, and then I build it, I make an executable, and I drop it into a beta and a public preview for GameGuru Classic users. Those who have access to those can check that out. And then once the testing is complete, it gets promoted to the actual public release of GameGuru Classic, and that means everyone benefits. I don't really need to do the testing part. Code from Cybernessence is always solid, so it's really just a case of playing with all the toys and figuring out, what I can get working, and then I can broadcast in the future knowledgeably about what's in it, how to get access to it, how to make it part of your game project, etc. But I just wanted to let you know the news that it's dropped today, and later on tonight and for the rest of the week I'm going to be playing around with it, making sure that it's really cool and easy to use, and then maybe a future broadcast could even turn into a little bit of a how-to on how to get this new... Alright, maybe I should backtrack a little bit. What are you talking about, Lee? Simulated procedural Sky. The Sky that we've had in GameGuru Classic we've had for years, which is basically a skybox of your choice, and then like a single quad plane where I scroll some semi-transparent clouds. Not very convincing. The new simulated procedural Sky looks a whole lot better. You can do a lot more atmospheric effects with this new system, and of course day-night cycle, which has been requested for years as well. So I'm looking forward to breaking it down and then maybe putting it into some little bite-sized how-tos so you can get access to it. So yeah, really excellent. More contributions in GameGuru Classic land, and I'm looking forward to putting it into the official version as soon as possible. I'm not sure whether I'll get to it before my holiday, but I'll certainly be playing with it and putting up our version of it onto the beta and public preview, and maybe the testing can happen whilst I'm away, and then we'll make it official when I return. So that's GameGuru Classic. Now let's take a little peek into what's happening in the land of GameGuru Max. Okay, so what is happening in the land of GameGuru Max? Well, a couple of things actually. The first thing, and as you're probably already aware because you've been watching the news and the Steam announcements and things, which is this. A second screenshot competition appropriately centered around the event of Halloween, which happens towards the end of the month. But we thought we'd give everyone plenty of time to come up with a suitably scary screenshot. And I think, in fact, I know Steam are now running their own Halloween event. It started today. And so it wasn't completely accidental that we knew this was coming on the Steam side, and we've prepared something that gives us a little bit more visibility on Steam, which hopefully makes more sales, which then lets us have more resources, and we can do more things quicker in GameGuru Max land. And so what we created for the Steam event is a DLC, a little one. It's free, don't worry about buying it. Just go onto your Steam page, you'll find it's called the Halloween Mini Kit. Comprises of 50 assets, all Halloween themed. As you can see, the screenshots, it's just floating around. So these are basically all the assets. And it might help you create a cool Halloween screenshot. You're by no means limited to these assets. It's just, you know, we probably didn't have that many Halloween assets before today, and so this should help you. You're absolutely welcome to bring in your own custom art into the level. So that's objects, images. Don't need to bring in music or sound effects because this is a screenshot competition, people. And the scariest, coolest, most excellent looking screenshot wins. There are some conditions, some rules. You'll find all that in the news post here. Usual, pretty much the same as the last screenshot in terms of the conditions, and of course cash prizes up for grabs. So the best 5 screenshots win. So go onto your GameGuru Max Steam page. You can find the Halloween mini kit. You can download it. It's not a very big download, and then you'll find it inside your folder. Now I'm just going to show you where it is, because we already got a message through support mail asking where is it. And so what we did, we've put it into a folder, easily identifiable and findable, but we also created a little level as well, and I'll just show you where to find that level, and then you'll know when you've succeeded in downloaded the DLC. So I'm going to go into my test project. It's a bit of a mess. I've been creating quite a lot of things in here, but at least I know how to navigate it. The reason we're waiting a long time is I'm still on the disk platter hard drive for this one. So if I just scroll down here, Halloween Mini Kit is a level that's been added to your map bank. So if you click on the add existing level in the top right, you'll see all the files, all the map files. Look for the Halloween minikit.fpm and load that, and then we'll add it to your storyboard for whatever game project you're currently opening into, and then that will add this screen. Then you click the screen and then you get our little level. And the level was simply created so we can test everything, so we can drop all 50 objects in and make sure they all work and collide and have the right materials and stuff. And as you can see, it's a very simple idea. We've just set it in a forest at night with one of the default buildings, and we've got some grave markers on the outside, some writing on there, some all these are themed, so they're all Halloween themed items, and just to make it a little bit nicer, because I have noticed the nighttime setting isn't super conducive to seeing things in a nice light, so I'm just going to add a few lights around so you can see what's going on. So dropping a light there, seasons creepings, some signs, some ghosts, some pumpkins. You get the idea. So obviously, I'm sure one or two of you will just stick a few lights in, pose it there, and then take a screenshot and then submit that as your entry into the competition, which you're quite welcome to do, but you're probably not going to win, because there'll be other users out there who are going to spend a very many hours making a really cool screenshot. The last screenshot competition was all about lights and shadows, and anyone who entered that one probably learned a few things about how you compose and set up your scenes with your light, and you also saw the winners, how they won, what they did in order to create really great lights and shadows. And those skills won't be lost if you reapply them to this screenshot competition. Obviously it's of the Halloween theme, but that could be quite a broad spectrum when it comes to your idea, but it has to look good. Make it look like the best screenshot of the bunch, and you're very likely to win a top 5 spot. So that's the first thing I wanted to mention, the Halloween compo. It is now live. You have, I think, 6 days left. So get creating and follow the rules. Submit your best. You can't submit more than one, so submit your best screenshot. And then after that's Halloween is officially over, we'll do the judging. We'll let everybody know in a news feed shortly afterwards. And the second thing I want to talk about is the progress of DX12. You're wondering why I've got 2 GameGuru Max icons on my taskbar. One is the Steam one, and this one before is my DirectX 12 Wicked merge. So what is all that? Well, we've decided to merge to the very latest version of the Wicked engine. The last time we did it was 15 months ago, so quite a lot has changed, and it's because of those changes it has taken this long. Quite a lot has changed, which means we had to change a lot of how we hooked into the Wicked engine in order to get it to work again, and for the longest time wouldn't even compile. But what you're looking at now is not only is it compiling and linking and running, the UI is visible as well. So all of the 2D stuff is now working again. If I go into that same massive super project and click on this one, my little canny valley, you'll notice that there is no terrain. But what there is of course 3D. We've got our markers, we've got objects. If we go over here, we've got water and we've got sky. So you can imagine that that canyon level. It is the same level, it's just you can't see the terrain being rendered because that was a custom shader, and we have to modify that custom shader to match the very latest Wicked engine stuff. But one thing I did want to show you, because I was quite surprised that I was just wandering around and accidentally dropped into the water and I saw this. If I increase the water level to 81, this is the new Wicked engine with the new underwater shader. So a lot more wobbly than it was before. If I just come back over to these guys, these zombies, and then if I drop under the water again, another thing that's been added with the new Wicked engine is this artifact. You see how this light, this shimmery light, those are light rays that are coming through the water, being distorted and then hitting the surface of anything that's under that water. And I'm sure we can control the scale and the speed of this effect. This is just the default out of the box. And as soon as we actually got the 3D stuff rendering and I accidentally dropped underwater, that's the first time I discovered it. So that's one of the cool things of and why this work taken so long, but it's worth wait. And that's because when we're finished, we instantly get a benefit of any features that have been added to the Wicked engine in the last 15 months. And in a case like this, we didn't even need to switch it on. It was just the new version of a technique that we was using before. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what other free features we actually get when we finish the whole process. So that's where we are right now. We've got UI working, we've got 3D objects rendering, and of course everything you see here is now running on the latest one, including the AMD freeze fix. If I try to look at these zombies and this statue in the last version of the DX12 one, the one that's currently available on the EXP build, it would have crashed. Still using the old AMD DX12 Zero card, but it's not crashing anymore. So that has indeed been fixed. So all we're waiting on now is me to add back in the terrain, the grass, the trees, and the particle effects. All of those are using custom shaders. So once we've added all of those things back in, we'll be back where we was a couple of weeks, possibly a month and a half ago, but a couple of extra benefits. Obviously the features, I've already mentioned that, but also it'll be faster and it'll be more stable and less likely to fall over. I've been scanning through the code as I've been converting it over, and yeah, there's a lot of optimizations that have taken place, so you are going to get a faster experience with this final DX12 build. So bear with us while we finish up the last of it, which is just the custom shaders, and then we'll start putting out some experimental builds so you can confirm that everything is solid, everything is nice and fast, and as importantly, all of the issues that we wanted to fix doing it this way are indeed fixed. So that takes care of the demo section. I know I've been wittering on a bit, 21 minutes in, not too bad. We do have a couple of minutes maybe 8 minutes for official Q&A. So without further ado, let's dive into that. Okay, so I'm going to drag over the live chat. I don't know where I've put it. Yeah, it's here. Poppy. As you can imagine, I was dealing with all the technical challenges, so I've not set it up as its own window, but now I have. So I'll drag this one in, and we'll answer some questions. Starting with the orange one, because Zach has kindly been answering questions. The orange ones that you see now are the ones that Zach couldn't answer and has waited for me to answer, and I'm happy to do that right now. So Zach's first one is, what other new Wicked features will we be getting with the DirectX 12 and the Wicked update? Not sure. I have kind of been focused really hard on just making sure that what we had before still works, and that would make me very happy. But yeah, off the top of my head, just from scrolling through the code and knowing what we were going to get, as you've already seen, a much improved underwater effect. And I've already mentioned that there are some significant performance improvements, and I think a lot of performance improvements around the shadow rendering. A lot of people have been hitting a lot of performance bottlenecks when it comes to shadows. I think those will disappear with the latest version. There's been features in Wicked Engine for a long time, even when we merged 15 months ago, that were never exposed in the latest GameGuru Max engine. It's simply because we had our own list of things to do. So yeah, there's other things that we will be able to expose at some point. Depth of field is a really cool one. That's already available. I spotted some improvements to how shadows are rendered different ways. You know, like, I wouldn't say light maps, I wouldn't say pre-baked, but you get the idea. Something like that in order to make scenes look more visually stunning, with a lot more shadows going on. Think ambient occlusion shadowing, but still done in sort of pseudo real time. So I'll know a little bit more in the near future, and then I'll be able to explain exactly what all that was about. There's a couple of other things that I have been looking at. We currently have our grass shader, which is our custom shader, but the Wicked Engine one, they call it her particles. And it basically is used to render grass, or their version of grass. But what they have is their grass changes how it moves based on what the wind is doing. And it could be that instead of us recreating our grass shader, we don't even bother. We just use the her particle system of the Wicked engine, and then carry over the textures that we want to use for our grass, but get the benefit of how Wicked renders its grass. You know, it could take the same amount of time as doing the custom shader upgrade. So it really, you know, we could just choose either one. But as you can see, the benefits would be we get cleverer grass. I'm hoping that the performance isn't going to be the thing that says, oh, we've just done it this way, but it's 10 times slower, so we have to go and resurrect the custom shader. I'm hoping when it's finished, it will be nice, fast grass. So yeah, go onto the Wicked Engine website. You'll find out all the features that it supports. And if you see something that, look, it's 2 lines of codes, please switch it on. Then let me know and put it in the issues board as a feature request. And then we'll tag it up and make sure that it doesn't get lost as an idea. Okay, live chat is coming thick and fast. I'm going to have to get through some more questions, aren't I? Is there an ETA on the particle fix? Yeah, the particle fix will happen with the DX12 build. So I'm already aware of why the particle is, but there's no point fixing it for the old code when the new code is being converted over. And as I said, the particle system that we use is a custom shader. So when I get the custom shader working in the latest version, at the same time we do the fix. So that's when it will happen. As to the ETA on the DX12 final version fully tested, I'm hoping before the end of the year. I'm hoping I get it out. Obviously, I'm going to be working on, I shouldn't be, but I'll be working on code whilst I'm on holiday. And when I get back, we could be in a position then to release at least an EXP build that could include that particle fix. So another question, is the new simulated sky stuff working, like the stars in the night sky instead of the black void max as at the moment? Yeah, I have heard that the latest version of the Wicked engine has star simulations. I've not seen it. I think I have sort of seen it, but as you've seen before, we also had the star simulator on the GameGuru Classic procedural sky stuff. So my brain's getting confused as to which ones have stars again. But yeah, if someone out there already knows and says, yeah, Wicked Engine does have stars in the simulated sky, that may actually already be in, if it's a case of just not deliberately switching it off, you may already have that with the next version of the DX12 update. So yeah, I'll try and remember that, and if it is just a case of switching them on, I'll switch them on. So when it's at night, you get more interesting sky with some twinkly bits. Here's another question from Zach. Since you're working on fixing up the terrain, grass and trees, will you be taking the time to fix the long-standing bug of screen space ambient occlusion not applying to any of them? That's a great question. As I said, the trees, which is what you're talking about, and the grass and the terrain, they're all custom shaders. And in order to make those three things as fast as possible, we cut out a lot of the things that would slow it down, and SSAO did take a little hit of performance in order to generate that effect. If I completely recreate the custom shaders as is, you won't get the SSAO just like you did before. My temptation, as I said with the grass, is to use the latest version of what FO Wicked Engine is supporting, such as the replacement grass. That would then give you SSAO, presuming that the Her Particle system is also using it, then you get the SSAO on that back. Same with trees. Instead of using the custom trees shader, if we just treated trees as regular objects, you would get SSAO. But the reason we haven't already done that before now is there's a performance hit. We've got 400,000 trees rendering in a typical dense GameGuru Max forest. Even a small performance hit per tree will kill your performance overall. But I completely understand you might want the option. Some people want SSAO, some people don't want SSAO, and I'll keep my performance, thank you. So yeah, I think we need to expose that so it's your button rather than one that we're forcing you down. But I'll know a lot more once I've finished putting terrain, grass and trees back, because it will be with the latest Wicked Engine, and we'll see what options we have for you. Okay, looking for a question mark. We found one. It's from Bob. How about some immersion improvements into Classic, like weather? Yeah, the new procedural sky stuff, I think I remember lightning, which means storms. And you don't get more weather than having a storm in the middle of your game. There isn't any roadmap on improvements or additions to the current GameGuru Classic weather systems that you can get into the engine right now. So yeah, there isn't anything I can sort of reveal that's in the works. But the source code is available in the repo. You can have a look and see if you want to sort of add or expand it. That's fine. I'm not just saying to the person who asked the question, sorry Bob, but anyone who wants to sort of maybe add some weather into Classic, the code is available. Check it out, add it, and maybe release it as something that we can test and put out there as a test version and eventually make it into the official build. But there isn't any roadmap at the moment on adding more weather to Classic. Is all of that a question? I think that's just a statement going down a few. Stormy. Just talking about storms, and the question from Stormy. Will we get VXGI? I assume that is global illumination of the VX variety, voxel global illumination. I know that the Wicked Engine has voxel lighting. It's built in, it just needs switching on. I switched it on ages ago and it was slow. Maybe it's faster now, but you do need a nice graphics card to have VXGI. So it's not on our roadmap for high priority, but yeah, that feature is available. And as soon as we get to a point where we feel a lot of the users have the cards they need to take full advantage of that, we can just switch it on, see what happens. Here's another question now at the top of the live chat. When should we expect bug fixes? The terrain textures are not saved at the level. Also, if you set the height of the clouds very low and re-enter the engine, then the height of the clouds will reset. Yeah, the bugs are piling up, aren't they? But it's very important that we only fix bugs on the latest version of our source code. If we actually stopped finishing off the DX12 update and started fixing bugs in the old code base, we just have to do it again with the new DX1. So what we're doing is getting this Wicked merge complete, and then we're going to go and fix the bugs on that latest code base. It's just the correct way around. So sorry if you've been sitting on a bug that you've wanted fixed for a while now, but it'll be worth it. The wait will be worth it in the end, because you'll be sitting on the latest version of the Wicked Engine and all the juicy features that come with. So my live chat is now scrolling completely off. So thanks for people pushing everyone out the way. I'll just grab the last question. Is will there be work on the tree bending shader. There's no plans to do a tree bending shader right now. I assume that's a community thing that's being worked on. Looking for another question. Here's one from Peck. Is there an ETA on the saving of advanced and developer options in the menus? Constantly turning them on is getting a bit annoying. Yeah, it was a design decision to deliberately making it annoying, but you absolutely know when you're in advanced or in developer mode, it annoys me as well. There is a trick though. If you go into settings.ini and set super developer to a value of 2, you might find your life a little bit less annoying. So nice little tip there for you. You want to find out and unravel what all that means. Here's another question. Is your goal to create a toy for children or a game engine that can be made actual premium games? Our goal is to create a toy for children. We are not competing with Unreal and Unity. Those are the tools you use if you want to create a large game development team and go out and make a premium game. We're under no illusions. We're a very small team. It takes us a long time to do stuff. Our pace is moving in the world of technology, and if you want to create modern games that you want to sell on a professional level, the tools already exist for you out there in the world. What we're trying to do is to catch everybody else who doesn't want to or can't code, doesn't want to or can't create their own 3D models, doesn't want to or can't create music, sound effects, logic, and all the gazillions of other things you need to do to create a game from scratch. We're going to make a little bit of a shortcut for those people who still want to make a game but doesn't want to spend 3 years and a massive team doing so. So that's how we sit into the marketplace. A toy for children? Sure, if you describe children as someone who has never made a game before in their life but would like to, we could redefine the word children as that. And a toy is something that's fun to use. Sure, I can take that description if you like, but we're certainly no Unreal or Unity. That's just not our goal, or at least for the next couple of years. And certainly you can still create some really cool games, but like all game making, you have to put the effort in. You have to create enough original stuff that your game stands out from the crowd. Okay, scrolly, let's see if we can find another question mark. A lot of chatting going on. The chatting actually pushed all my questions out the window, so thanks for that. Okay, found a question mark. Will we see breakable objects like break crate? And is there an object inside the crate we can pick up? Interesting question. There are no plans to do that, but you've seen the building editor where we have doors and windows and stairs. Well, we're also working on some extra content for that. And specifically when we was looking at the design for windows, we thought wouldn't it be cool if as part of this selection of windows, we had windows that could smash, so you could blow them out. And then we thought, oh, do we do it the old-fashioned way of having artists create a pane of glass and then breaking it themselves and then hiding them and then showing them when the glass breaks? Or do we do it a different way? The engine knows about panes of glass and knows how to break those panes of glass. So all the artist has to do is say, this polygon is glass, and then the engine does the rest, including destroying it and smashing it with all the appropriate effects. So I would say that is the first piece of the puzzle on how to break literally everything in your level. So we're going to start with glass, because it's something we're going to kind of need, and that may then extend to more interesting shapes like walls and boxes and things like that. So we are thinking about it, and it is an exciting area of procedurally generated destruction, and I think we're going to start with windows. The first time you're going to see something like that will be glass. Okay, scrolly. Question mark. Name uses them then? Question mark. I think I need context for that question. Okay, let's scroll down a bit. Let's find a question with some more words in it. This is from Fearless Sweet. And if you hate Macs so much, no offense, why are you here? I don't hate Macs at all. I rather like Macs. Thank you very much. Why am I here? It's a live broadcast. It's my job to be here. Okay, Luke. I guess there's a lot of conversation going on, so I'm trying to find an actual question. Here we go. This is from another one from Bob. What are those unimportant things in your opinion? Okay, I guess the Q&A has descended into a lively topic that I'm completely out of touch on. So I think we'll leave it there. We're 35 minutes in. That's usually longer than we dedicate to the demo and the Q&A section. What we'll do now, we'll pass anyone who still wants to ask some questions over to the Discord area. I had the foresight with the third attempt to post the Discord link in the description for the broadcast. But for those who don't know what I'm talking about, it's that. Obviously you can't copy and paste it out of a video, but there it is. That's where you will find at least 2 members of the team in the next 2 minutes. We can ask a few more questions, and as you can see, questions are already coming in, or at least statements. So yeah, that's where we'll be in about 1 minute's time. As for this live broadcast, I've got a few more things to do, not least of which is to close this one down, pop a little pretty picture on it, and then get it on YouTube for anyone who wasn't lucky enough to join us live today. So thanks very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed the reveals. Same again next week when I'll still be live, but after that there'll be a couple of pre-records if you want to tune in for that. Some juicy deep dives into the building editor, just a little sneak peek as to what's going on. So for those who are going to Discord, I'll see you in a few seconds. And for those who want to wait for next week, I'll have video adjourned, and it'll be next Wednesday at 7 PM GMT. So switching from BSD back to good old GMT. So until next Wednesday, I shall say thank you very much and goodbye.